So today is the third session of Bhagavad Gita introduction. Gita Amrita we are taking from Radhesham Prabhu's material. So this session will focus on process of understanding Bhagavad Gita. Before we actually delve into Gita, we want to understand what is the right process. Process for understanding anything in general, what is the right system, right? So, and the process of going back to Godhead. Those are the contents. Yeah. So first thing, with the fundamental principle is why we are learning this wisdom, this Vedic wisdom, right? If you look at our own body and senses, our senses are imperfect. Do you all agree? Any examples how they are imperfect? How eye is imperfect? In the night, yeah, in the night you can't see anything. Yeah, there is a range, visual range in which only we can see anything in this world, right? In the dark you can't find, behind the wall I don't know what it is, right? Similarly, ears also have limitations. You can't hear beyond certain decibel range, right? So all the senses are limited. So what happens if you have limited senses? Naturally, through senses, we gain knowledge in this world through our senses. We'll gain by hearing, by seeing, but the tools we have are limited. So naturally, the knowledge that is gained through these tools is going to be imperfect. It cannot be, you cannot say I get perfect knowledge by seeing, right? For example, Arjuna, when he was in the battlefield, the first thing he did was he saw his own relatives in the battlefield. What happened? As soon as he saw, he was emotionally broken down. Oh, I have to kill my grandfather. I have to kill my own teacher. So emotionally, we get disturbed by just depending on just the physical senses that we have, right? Similarly, we let our senses experience this world and we go through a lot of emotions, right? It's a lot of negativity. That's why we should limit our senses when we observe in this world, because we come to wrong conclusions, right? uh, like you see your man is a little bit in a off mode because of something at his home, but he might think it might be because he doesn't like me. Is that natural way? Suppose you did something wrong, and or you could not deliver something, and you went to your manager office, he's busy and he's not even looking at you. What do you think? You might mean different things, but he might mean something else. So senses are always, you cannot. So senses are imperfect, and so naturally we get illusioned when we use these senses to gain knowledge. We we go through illusion. For example, sometimes we see the train track coming like together, but the track is never together. It's a parallel line, but still in our observation it appears like they're you know just by naked eye, right? Many examples, like if you put a stick in water in a glass that is transparent, how do you see? As if it's bent, but it's actually not bent, right? Because of refraction we feel that it is bent. So we get illusioned. Our senses are limited and we get illusioned. Because of these two, what happens? We commit mistakes, right? Naturally, if your senses are limited and you have the tendency to get illusioned, the natural course of action is you commit mistakes. We all commit mistakes. That's why it is said to err is human, right? So because our senses are limited and we get illusion, we naturally commit mistakes. And when we commit mistakes, what do? We try to cover it up. For example, I remember in school days when we were doing experiments, you all did experiments, right? G equal to 9.8. I never got that, but I wrote it. Readings, yes. Because, that's how when we want to present before our leadership, we never present the exact facts. We want to present a story, right? That makes sense to them. And they will do the same thing to their leaders. It's a chain of illusion, parampara. In this way, we cheat each other. That happens everywhere in office, right? It happens with me all the time. So that's how the way of survival, right? Unfortunately, that's natural for us. So because of all this, what we perceive in this world is not perfect, and the knowledge that we gain is never perfect. So Vedic knowledge is not like that. It is infallible. It has not the origin of human limitations. The origin is a perfect source. It is a revealed wisdom. It's not, achieved wisdom. It's not somebody's acquired knowledge. It is revealed knowledge. So that is how it is way different from whatever knowledge we try to acquire in this world, right? So that's why Vedic knowledge is called infallible. It has an imperfect, it has a perfect source. It's not prone to mistakes. Like, for example, what are some of the Vedic truths that we all know? One basic truth is cow dung is considered as pure in Vedic wisdom. It's maintained, it can be used in purifying paraphernalia of Lord, for example. But generally, dung is what? Is abominable, right? It's if you touch any animal's dung, or you have to immediately take bath from your head. But when it is the case of cow dung, we use actually in olden days, in the Vedic times, before our house, right? We used to mix this cow dung with water and spread it. Then there is no infection. It acts as antiseptic in spite of being dung. You see, generally it's not the case with any other dung, but because Vedas say that, it is so. Similarly, the shank that we blow for offering to Lord as a as part of the Archana Paddhati, the chunk is actually a bone. Generally, bone is untouchable. When you touch a bone, you have to take a bath. But the same bone is used in the worship paraphernalia of the Lord. It is sanctified by default. It's unquestionable why it is so like that. So like that. So there are many such things. And Vedas say plants have life. Later on, Jagadish Chandra Bose. So you can take a Vedic fact and experiment and prove that it is a fact. That you can expand science in that way also. Because Vedas say whatever it says is perfect. So people have experimented, in laboratories how cow dung is pure. Actually, it has all the antiseptic properties. It was verified experimentally in laboratories. So, yeah. So here is some, you can all see, right? Let me. Yeah. So here are some of the, the Vedic truths, right? See, this is Jagadish Chandra Bose. He proved that plants have life experimentally. In Srimad Bhagavatam, there is description of how the baby is, grows in the embryo from day one. That was there. It was very well described in each verse. Exactly tells when the baby starts moving the fingers, and the whole thing was given. And when does modern science come to know about this, embryology and the science of movement of baby in the the womb? It was only like hardly like 60, 70 years ago. when seismology, when the science of this came. But way before, in thousands of years ago, this was written in our Vedic texts. Srimad Bhagavatam, third canto, it is there. Kapil Muni talks about all of this. And in fact, the embryology in the science textbooks, it only talks about physical changes. In the talks of Kapila Muni, he speaks about how the consciousness of the living entity also acts in those periods. When it actually is prayerful in that womb. And the baby actually promises that to the Lord, to the Paramatma, he is conversing, saying that, when I come out of this womb, I will definitely take shelter of you. Because he is going through a lot of pain. Suppose somebody is locked in a dark room for a day, how is he going to feel? Miserable, right? If I lock Prabhuji, Sanal Prabhu. Sorry to take your name. How do you feel? No, yeah. Like there is nobody to talk to. Like it's miserable, right? Yeah. Now, that is exactly how the baby is locked for 9 months. And sometimes there are acids. When mother takes acids, it's not pleasure for the baby. It's her sensitive skin goes through pain. So it's not easy at all for the baby. And that's the pain. So this whole thing was given in Bhagavatam third canto. So Vedas are, because the Vedic wisdom is not human origin, it's revealed wisdom. So it's perfect science. Cow dung and cow products are perfect, right? There is Ayurveda. Ayurveda is the ideals. It takes care of the body in the ideal way without causing any damage and harm, right? It's medicine in the mode of goodness. If you look at our allopathic medicine, it's medicine in the mode of passion and ignorance. Yeah. But Ayurvedic medicine is perfect, it's more preventive than curative. And then there is, from Vedic science, there is yoga, right? Yoga keeps your body fit. That has come from Vedas. Vedic mathematics, it's the fastest mental math, right? And there is Vastu Shastra. Have you heard about Vastu? In India, especially, any construction follows Vastu. It has the home, or any building can be constructed in harmony with the natural forces, natural energies. In a home constructed with proper Vastu standards, there is natural energy support. So you will have peaceful family, peaceful, happy life. Right? Organic farming, astrology. Astrology is very deep science, mathematical, very mathematical. And also, there are many Sanskrit languages. So these are all coming from Vedas. So this is just the Apara Vidya of Vedas, the material side of the Vedas. Now let's see the Vedic side. And Vedic science also has predictions about great people like Gautam Buddha. In Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, third chapter, 24th, Gautam Buddha's incarnation was given. And Srimad Bhagavatam was compiled when? It's compiled like more than 5,000 years ago. When did Buddha come? 2,000 years ago. So it's mentioned Buddha will come like that. And this is his mother, this is the birthplace, like that. So you can see how Vedic wisdom is always futuristic. There is Chanakya Pandit's appearance was also mentioned before he is born. And this is Emperor Ashoka is also mentioned in 12th canto, first chapter. Even Jesus was mentioned in Bhavishya Purana. And Prophet Muhammad is also mentioned. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is mentioned in many places. He was mentioned in Bhagavatam. He was also mentioned in Vishnu Puran, and also mentioned in Vishnu Sahasrana, Mahabharata.
The Vedas are amongst the oldest religious scriptures known to mankind and are the source of India's spiritual and cultural heritage. At first glance, the multifaceted culture of the Vedas is a foreign and fascinating mystery to the Western eye. Yet upon deeper examination, we discover a wealth of philosophical, cultural, and social values. India is renowned the world over for the practice of yoga, which increases one's mental and physical strength. However, this is only a fraction of what the Vedas can offer to a progressive global community. India's culinary arts, music, natural medicine, and other sciences are only now becoming known to the West. Conceivably the world's oldest holistic design system, the Vastu Shastra predates and inspired the popular Chinese system of feng shui. The design of a temple, house, or workspace has been proven to exert a considerable influence on one's well-being. The Vastu Shastra was compiled specifically to address this concern and offers practical architectural guidelines. This style of sacred architecture has been implemented in the building of India's largest temples for thousands of years. The sculptures adorning these temples reflect the development and accomplishments of one of man's oldest civilizations. They depict the struggles, failures, and successes of the men who made them the center of their lives. The sophisticated Vedic sciences of astrology, astronomy, cosmology, and metaphysics profoundly influenced the Greeks, Babylonians, and even contemporary scientists with their unparalleled knowledge. Ancient Vedic sages presented precise calculations a millennium before Copernicus, Galileo, Newton, and Einstein.
Yep. Yeah. So we see that Vedic wisdom is such a profound and very ancient, right? So we have to transfer our focus, in today's world. Yeah, there are a lot of rules for that. I mean, it's an entire subject we can discuss. I know a little bit, so I can share, but there are a lot of details. Yeah. Yeah. So when Indologists came to the India, right? Not Indologists, but yeah, Western people, when they came to when they conquered India, that time they saw this wisdom, it's very vast knowledge. They couldn't process because their traditions mostly they started like literally like 2000 years ago. They had a lot of books, but when they saw India's ancient wisdom, it's like fathomless. And that language itself is very complicated, Sanskrit. I mean, to somebody who naked eye, right? So they were like, they're trying to make sense. Then these are like very sophisticated scholars. They were brought in initially to understand, where these people stand, so that we can impose our own, traditions on them. That was their goal. And so they started learning Sanskrit and started looking at the books and started translating. And they wanted to showcase that this Vedic tradition has origins after our Christian era. So if you look at many of their, Indological editions of, many of these scriptures, they date our scriptures to be from like 1400 or 1500 on purpose, just to show that theirs was little older than ours, right? Unfortunately, they termed all our books, all our Vedic wisdom as mythology. The term mythology is coined by Western philosophers who actually came and tried to interpret our Vedic scriptures to favor their own culture. They called it as mythology. What is myth? Myth means it's not a fact. They rendered all our Puranic wisdom as mythology. But we should not refer to our scriptures as mythology at all. Purana, the word Puran means very old history. So our scriptures are historical guides to our current generation so that we can lead life in a meaningful way, right? So we should understand that fact very well. So there is 200 years of British rule, and before that, like 500-600 of Mughal rule. So people try to manipulate our culture a lot. Especially, 200 years, the damage was huge. Even the Mohammedans conquered India, they tried to let our culture to go because they respected our culture. A lot of them, I mean, some of them haven't. Humayun and Aurangzeb, they have tried to destroy. But before that, like, Akbar, they actually supported. So there is a lot of, degradation of our own culture. Many of the things were left as rituals. And what we know back in India are mostly these skeletal rituals about each festival. Many people don't know exactly why different festivals are celebrated. And so the only remnants are left. All the cultural symbolism is left. And because of that, people of the modern age law do not have any understanding. Therefore, they actually think our culture is lower than this Western culture. They hear only mythology and the remnant culture and feel that their culture is lower than that of Western people. But if you see in the past video and the various sciences I described, ours is far rich and deep. Some Westerns now come and they understand now, after looking at with an open mind. Now they appreciate it. But in the past, many people have come to actually impose their thing, and they try to take the take it very negatively, right? Yeah. Puranas are not imaginative; they are actually historical records. Yeah. Yeah. And so what we hear in Vedic scriptures, this is called Shruti Praman. Shruti Praman means start with whatever you perceive in this world. Start with ear. Hear and then try to see. That makes a lot of difference. For example, if somebody goes to a laboratory to meet his friend, he says his friend is a technician, lab technician, and lab technician was doing some experiment. So he puts a glass of liquid there. The liquid, the friend visits there. He sees a glass of liquid, and it looks like lemon juice. And there are, say, 2 cut lemon pieces on the side. Naturally, what do you infer? Just by looking at a glass, say a transparent glass with a liquid looking like lemon juice with couple of lemons on the side. So the friend sees, he thinks maybe lemon juice he made for me, and he could have just drank it. But then before that, he checks with his friend. Hey, what is this? Is this lemon juice? The friend says, no, 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 it is citric acid. Don't. If you put it on your tongue is gone for it. And then, oh, I see a couple of lemons on the side, lemon pieces. Oh, I just had lunch and I kept my lemon pieces there. So you see, first you hear and then try to see and understand. In this world, when we perceive, if you just look with your naked eye, you may come to wrong conclusions. Yeah.
Like Western culture, they're like want to cover the Indian tradition. But initially, whenever the like started, everything will be the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, first of all, like why it is like the bias between like Indian culture to the Western side. So it could be started whatever things we started from the Western initially.
Initially,
Why only started when they have
why it started in India? I mean, India, if you look at, India was the most fertile land for a long time. And India had, the history of the sages, unlike any other place. During the time of Yudhishthira Maharaj, for example, the king of India was the ruler of the entire world. That's how the historical records say. It's not, and most of the land outside India was non-livable. Like places like this, it's not even livable actually. Now with AC and all, we can live. People used to live. Most of the people here were like nomadics, animal hunters, very tribal classes. Like Red Indians. Those are the kind of people occupying both Western as well as America, lands of America and all.
so
In the time of Jujutsu, about like 3,000, 4,000 years back, he sent his sons to Europe and other places, Russia and other places. And if you see, they became kings there. But most of them are called Yavanas. Yavanas means those who don't follow Vedic traditions correctly.
that be because they don't have enough resources to know about like, how to live.
Yeah.
That's why like other cultures start, like other dharma start.
Mhm.
Based on it's not they're cultivated or like it's coming from the original source.
Which one? I didn't understand.
Like other
Mhm. Yeah, Islam, they started like, see, if you look at Jesus, his teachings are very limited. If you read even Bible, you will see like the level of knowledge there. It's very fundamental. It is definitely on moral grounds. It talks about God, but it doesn't go beyond a certain level, very fundamental level, like second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Not even second chapter of wisdom of Gita of second chapter is there in the entire of Bible, for example. It's wisdom. It's on the path to God. It helps. Even Jesus himself told his people that I have a lot more to give, but I cannot give because you are not ready. So the people who are taking the knowledge from Jesus were mostly fishermen and laborers who are uneducated and all. So he gave, it's like if a teacher is teaching to first grader, he will give knowledge to a certain level only, right? If you say 2 plus 3, he will understand. As soon as you say 2 minus 3, he'll say, oh, what is this gibberish? You won't understand subtraction. But if you go to a fifth grader, he will understand. So when you talk about Bhagavad Gita, look at the knowledge there. Arjuna already knows Dharma Shastras. He has very good arguments in the second chapter why he should not fight. It's convincing. Actually, if you read second chapter, you will be convinced that what Arjuna is saying is correct. He should not fight. His knowledge is correct, but the knowledge based on Dharma Shastras, but the spiritual knowledge is a higher knowledge. If you look at from higher wisdom, then again, this knowledge is not that, you cannot, that overrides this knowledge. So there are levels of seeing a thing. So that kind of knowledge is given in Vedic scriptures. if you have a home, you designate a place for temple, you designate a place for bedroom, right? If the whole cosmos or maybe this whole world is like a home, the place of temple is India. That's how they say. It's not because I'm Indian or you can go back in history and see that is exactly how it is. Yeah. Yeah, it's the temple of the world. You will see in the next few years actually how India would transform again. Right now, there is a history of cycles where different places will take over and rule the entire world. Right now, it's in the Americas. You will see very soon it's changing. The whole cosmos will change. The rise of power of India will come very soon. Yeah, it's based on study of time cycles or like thousands of years. There is one very Vedic astrologer. He's a young boy. He made a video, deep research on these time cycles. He shows how exactly Indian dominion will come very soon. Yeah, right now it is Americas. It will move towards Asia. But again, those are all external factors. The kind of wisdom in India is unparalleled. There is no, look at, um, these are called religions. They start at a time and they actually have an end. And they're all based on faith. If you just look at the word religion means what? Set of rules. So the word religion literally means it's based on faith. Today I may have faith in something, tomorrow may have faith in something else. Faith is changeable. But what we had in Bharat, the tradition that is called Sanatana Dharma. What is Sanatana Dharma? Dharma means property. Sanatana means eternal property. So what we follow is something that is not changeable. Whatever we follow, the tradition. So what is Sanatana Dharma of Jivas, for example? We are all Jivas, right? Sanatana Dharma of water is what? What is the natural property of water? Flowing liquidity, right? What is the natural property of sugar? Sweetness. Yeah. So if you take out that, it's not anymore sugar. If you take out fire and heat and light from fire, it's not anymore fire. The natural properties are taken out. So similarly, the Jiva's natural property is what? To serve. Anybody you take, you all serve your manager or your wife or your family, your parents serve. Everybody naturally serves. So then what is the highest thing to serve? God. God is the highest thing to serve. So the whole principle is based on service, right? So that's the highest service one can render is called devotional service. That is a service between the jiva and the highest absolute truth. So that's called devotion service. Now you're talking about the natural property of the jiva rendered towards the highest absolute truth. So that is the word. So which religion has this kind of understanding? There is nobody. Actually, you can look at, I studied Bible, for example. I studied some parts of Quran. There is no comparison. In fact, there are many good scholars within Islam, professors, they study and they tell how deep Bhagavad Gita. Their questions were resolved when they study Bhagavad Gita. They quote many shlokas. I have some examples of imams who actually study Bhagavad Gita to get, they want to follow their own religion, but to get deeper understanding, they study Bhagavad Gita. You see? So that is the greatness of our wisdom. If you just look at empirically, objectively, the science that is given in Bhagavad Gita is like far deeper. And if you want a lot more deeper understanding is Bhagavatam, right? So what is the form we are seeing here? Which Vishnu? We have discussed this. Garbho Udaka Sai Vishnu. He is an expansion of coming from Mahavishnu. And he is in charge for one universe. Each universe has one Garbha Udaka Sai Vishnu. Why is he called Garbha Udaka Sai Vishnu? Brahma is born, but that's a subsequent thing. Udaka means what? Water? Yeah, water. Yeah. So he's lying on the, yeah, it's actually, yeah, bodily water from his own body. Yeah. So he's lying on the on these waters. Half of the universe is actually filled with these celestial waters. These are not like waters of our experience. It's called celestial waters, on which he is lying, and from his navel comes this lotus on which Lord Brahma is, situated, right? And Brahma is born out of Mahavishnu directly. He has no mother. Mother and father is Mahavishnu. Yeah. So he is the source of incarnation, right? He is the source of all the planetary systems, manufactures. So the knowledge, Vedic wisdom, is Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye Muhyanti Yas Surya. That's the first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. That says, this knowledge is revealed in the heart of Brahma. This Vedic wisdom, the first time it is revealed in the heart of Brahma by Lord Garbhodaksa Vishnu directly. So this is the source of Vedic wisdom. It's unlike any knowledge that we know in this world. Yeah. So this is Vedavyas. Vedavyas is a student of, who is his guru? Narada Muni. Narada Muni is a student of Lord Brahma. He is also the son. He is the son and student of Brahma. So he received knowledge from Brahma, and he then, shared this knowledge with Vedavyas. Vedavyas is also an incarnation of Lord, right? And what is his contribution to this world? All the Vedic literature is coming from one person only. There is not like, oh, great rishis gave. They were all, asked to be rendered, but they're all students of Vedavyas. Either he himself gave, for example, Bhagavad Puran is directly given by him, dictated to, Vinayak, Ganeshji. But most of the scriptures are, coming from the students. Or why did he put in writing? So until then, it was just Shruti Praman. Everybody was just Shruti Dharas. People were just hearing the Vedic wisdom and they know. They don't need to write down, or there is no notes taking in those days. Because they are Shruti Dharas. So the people born before this current age, Kali Yuga, they're all Shruti Dharas. They just learn from their teacher and they just follow. There is no taking. But because in Kali Yuga, people have limited intellectual capabilities. You will be surprised to hear this. Vedavyas is a Trikalagna. He knows the standard of the people of the current times, past, and Vardhaman, like current time, in the past and the future. So knowing that the people of the Kali Yuga are very, they're easily disturbed. Manda Sumanda Matayo Manda Bhagyam. So those are the characteristics of Kali Yuga people. Manda Bhagya means they are very unfortunate people. It's literal like that. And they're always in anxiety. You don't know, tomorrow job may go. That's how it is, unfortunately. Right? That's what happened to my manager, recently, like 1 month back. He came to office he told at 9 o'clock, hey, my manager's job is gone. He told us, hey, suddenly our VP is gone. And then at 12 o'clock, it seems like mine is also gone. Just now my manager told. Yeah. So it's like that, unfortunately. So I lost 2 layers above me. I'm now reporting to SPP. So it's like that. The world is so, flickering. So this is all described. So people are in always anxiety in Kali Yuga, and they're very unfortunate. So given that, they definitely need the help of Vedic wisdom. So he put them in writing all this, all the Vedic scriptures. He made it in writing. He divided the Vedas into 4, and yeah, Puranas, Itihasas were all given. Yeah. So every day we should definitely spend some time in reading Vedic scriptures. Right? Then that will purify our mind. Spend 2 minutes or 5 minutes and read 2 slokas, Bhagavad Gita slokas. It will completely transform your consciousness. Do some prayers. Every day we should do some, maybe Bhishma Stuti or Bhagavatam prayers. I without every day I do Bhishma Stuti. Every day I read. It's such heart touching, and doing that, after that, if you go for sleep, you'll have a very peaceful mind. Whatever is to your liking. Bhagavatam has so many prayers. Do something. It only takes 5 minutes to read Bhishma Stuti, or if you have more time, you can do Vishnu Sahasrana, very beautiful prayers, right? At least you can hear these wonderful prayers. It really transforms your life. Every day we must read little bit, Bhagavad Gita, that completely disengages from material touch that we have throughout the day. Yeah. Just like materialists engage their minds in reading newspapers, magazines, and so many material literature, we must transfer our reading to these literature, Vedic literature. Yeah. So this way we'll always remember the Supreme Lord. Yeah. Yeah. So why we should hear Srimad, many people think, why we should accept some knowledge instead of trying to, do some research and, gain knowledge in this world, right? People may ask that question. That's why all the PhDs exist, correct? we can fathom knowledge, but there are things that you cannot even achieve. We all, you must have heard in Discover Yourself this, this example. If a child want to know his father, and he says, I want to learn by in inductive process. So he can go on trying to find in a scientific way, trying to decode his DNA and find out. And how many people? So if you do genetic fingerprinting, it takes about 800 years to figure out who your father is. And again, it's a probability of 200 people. Among these 200 people, one of them will be your father. That is how close you can get to the truth through scientific experimentation. But the easier way is, what is the easiest way to find your father? Go ask your mother. That's the easiest way, right? Mother is the authority to source to know about your father. So there are places where inductive knowledge completely fails. You cannot, So Vedic wisdom is like that. If you want to know the truth of life, you cannot experiment and, trying to know by yourself through meditation. There are many jnanis who try to understand the nature of the soul through meditation. When I learned about, spirituality in the beginning, I was very attracted to that. because that felt like, very scientific, and, it meant something. Why I should, hear Bhagavad Gita and learn from somebody? I will go by myself. But then I felt, it's not going anywhere. Because there is so much we can do. We don't have so much time. Kali Yuga is so short. Yeah. So the other method is just inquiring from your father. That's the easiest way. So this is called deductive knowledge, right? Deductive knowledge means just go to the right authority to inquire, right? So just like the child goes to mother to know who is her father, Vedic wisdom is like the mother for us to know about the Father, the Supreme Lord. If you want to know about God, what is the right source? Vedic wisdom, Bhagavad Gita. In today's time, Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, these are the two books that is sufficient. There is no other wisdom anywhere, but in any religion, any corner of the world. No, nothing compares to Bhagavad Gita. Yeah. So Vedas can give us God knowledge, the GK, not just general knowledge.
The Vedas, however, are not as well known for presenting historical and scientific knowledge as they are for expounding subtle sciences, such as the power of mantras. We all recognize the power of sound itself by its effects, which can be quite dramatic. Here, a high-pitched frequency shatters a drinking glass. So, we can easily understand that loud sounds can produce substantial reactions. It is commonly believed that mantras can carry hidden power, which can in turn produce profound effects. The ancient Vedic literatures are full of descriptions of weapons being called by mantra. For example, many weapons were invoked by mantra during the epic Kurukshetra war, wherein the Bhagavad Gita itself was spoken. The ancient deployment of Brahmastra weapons, equivalent to modern-day nuclear weapons, are described throughout the Vedic literatures. Additionally, mantras carry hidden spiritual power, which can produce significant benefits when chanted properly. Indeed, the Vedas themselves are sound vibrations in literary form and carry a profound message.
So mantras have hidden power. Yeah. Now, yeah, we all understand that we should, rely on Vedic wisdom, right? Now the question is, whom do I seek this knowledge? That's also important, right? We want to gain knowledge. We want to study engineering, for example. You didn't learn from your neighbor or anybody who knows the knowledge. You went to a recognized institute, say an IITs, for example, or NITs. Why do people prefer to go to IITs? Because the education is very authentic there. There won't be any professors who are just, take it easy guys. Correct? Very serious people will be there, and the whole ecosystem will be very supportive to learn Vedic wisdom. Now, same thing applies to learn Vedic wisdom. If you want to learn Vedic wisdom, you have to go to authorized centers of education. What are those centers? They're called the paramparas. There are parampara means the source coming from God himself. There should not be any link broken. The knowledge should be transferred directly from God to the current generation. So that's called parampara. When you learn from parampara, the Vedic wisdom, then it has its impact on your heart. It really transforms you. But if you learn from others, it won't have the same impact, right? Just somebody knowing technically doesn't mean anything. You have to learn from the right authoritative source. Just like authoritative parampara are like authoritative universities or colleges, right? Yeah. Who are the professors? Professors are the people who learned this wisdom in terms of Vedic wisdom learning. The people who learned in the parampara, the guru, right, or the teachers. And what are the authorized books? The books like Vedic Bhagavad Gita. Yeah. Now we'll see some advanced knowledge in Vedas. So there is also Viman Shastra in Vedas. Have you heard about it? Let's see.
University of California at Irvine, April 2017. Aerospace engineer Travis Taylor has obtained a model of an aircraft whose design specifications are based solely on information gleaned from ancient Indian texts that are believed to have been formally set to writing in 500 BC. He is going to subject it to wind tunnel analysis to determine if it is a viable flying machine. The aircraft model, created using details garnered from the ancient Indian texts, has proven to be flight-worthy. Is it possible that by studying the ancient Indian texts, we may be able to recreate advanced technology that existed thousands of years ago in India? Ancient astronaut theorists suggest that the texts may also contain details for advanced spacecraft.
So, and if you heard about, Mahabharata, many weaponry were invoked in the battle, Kurukshetra war. Many weapons were invoked through mantras. In fact, there was a use of Brahmastra also at some point. And those are very subtle, very subtle, these weapons. For example, one time, what is his name? Ashwadhama threw this Brahmastra to kill the child Parikshit in the womb of Uttara. Right? He targeted. So it's very subtle. So the Brahmastra would go and attack only the child in the womb. Doesn't harm the mother, doesn't harm anybody around. But if you look at atom bomb, it is very gross. It just destroys all surrounding, So it's not very, so it's far more subtle. That's what I'm trying to say. But in today's time, are people capable of invoking? Not necessarily, because you need to have mantra siddhi for that. You need to have certain yogic perfection to be able to use. Even this Viman Shastra, I doubt if can really use. Those sciences are available to people who have a certain standard and knowledge and certain yoga siddhis. They can try to learn, but they can appreciate, but they may not be really able to experiment in today's age and time. So it may appear like, oh, are these really true and followable in today's time? May not be for us, because we are not qualified for them. But what we are qualified, we should take advantage. We can certainly achieve perfection through mantra chanting, for example. That we can do. We may not explore all these, subtle sciences and achieve material perfection that was seen in the Vedic times. For example, Ravana had flying, Pushpak Viman, right? In today's time, we don't have such things. Even Kardama Muni constructed a Viman of the size of a city. Yeah. And he went over many places all over the world with his wife, just like, for fun. In today's time, we won't hear such things. We have, all the rich guys have big private jets and, things like, but they're no comparison to what the ancient sages had. Yeah, so I already discussed briefly. Unfortunately, educated Indian youth are diverted from having faith in the Vedas, right? If you have studied in the Indian school education system as it exists today, you will just hate Vedas or you will have no relationship with Vedas. Instead, what did you all study in history? The history of Humayun, Akbar. You studied very deeply with dates. When is Paniput war happened? Is that of any use? Did you ever think of, why am I studying? That's all because it's a proper agenda in which our Vedic culture was taken away, and all these, the history of, these Mughals and all was put in our history books as if that is our real history. Our real history is Vedic wisdom, right? Was no mention of. Did any of you learn anything related to Vedas during school? Right? None of us. Naturally, we think it's all mythology only. Right? Now we'll see, why.
Early Indologists wished to control and convert the followers of Vedic culture. Therefore, they widely propagated that the Vedas were simply mythology. Max Mueller, perhaps the most well-known early Sanskritist and Indologist, although later in life he glorified the Vedas, initially wrote that the Vedas were worse than savage, and India must be conquered again by education. Its religion is doomed. Thomas Macaulay, who introduced English education into India, wanted to make the residents into a race that was Indian in blood and color, but English in taste, in opinion, in morals, and in intellect. However, the German philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer stated that the Sanskrit understanding of these Indologists was like that of young schoolboys. These early Indologists devised the Aryan invasion theory, denying India's Vedic past. They taught that the English educational system is superior. They intentionally misinterpreted Sanskrit texts to make the Vedas look primitive. And they systematically tried to make Indians ashamed of their own culture. Thus, the actions of these Indologists seems to indicate that they were motivated by a racial bias.
This is exactly what has happened. Macaulay, as you heard, his agenda was just to introduce Western education system in India. And so at that time, India was filled with gurukulas, hundreds and hundreds of gurukulas. They slowly and steadily they wiped away, and they introduced the Western education, and they changed all our books and translated in such a representing them as mythology, and a lot of cultural damage was done because of Indologists. They all had a very clear agenda to put down Vedic tradition. So this is the exact reason why we don't study. Whatever Macaulay gave, that is the education system we still follow. Now Modi is changing the whole thing. You know that? Now everywhere there is introduction of Vedic history. Is completely changing. All Ahmedabad and all are changing. The place names, everything is changing slowly. Yeah. But it took many, many years, right? Hundreds of years of invasion and British rule, and unfortunately the last 50 years of Congress rule is also the same, because, or you know about Nehru, right? You heard about Nehru? He is Indian in body, Western in all his thought, and he is the prime minister. He made sure Indians become the slaves of Western. He had no faith in Vedas, unfortunately. Yeah, now let's hear. You heard about Tulsi Gabbard? Yeah, she's born to a Vaishnava who has was influenced during the time of Prabhupada.
Aloha and namaste. 2020 is certainly a year that will not soon be forgotten. For most, if not all of us, it has brought about many unexpected changes. The uncertainty that this year has brought has made me personally reflect upon the time that I spent deployed in the Middle East. That too was a time in my life when there was danger at every step. Each day brought new uncertainties, and likewise, many lives were lost. My shelter then and now has been the Bhagavad Gita, which means Song of God. The Bhagavad Gita spoken by Sri Krishna is full of transcendental wisdom that is as relevant today as it was 5,000 years ago when it was spoken. When we are blown here and there by the strong winds of change, when giant waves are crashing upon us, when we're feeling unsteady, lost, adrift, the Bhagavad Gita offers us guidance and hope. Looking at our problems through the prism of eternality, rather than merely identifying with our temporary material circumstances, gives us an anchor that offers great peace, purpose, and stability through even the most trying of times. May we always be blessed with remembrance of Sri Krishna, his unconditional love, and his transcendental appearance in this world. Jaya Shri Krishna.
Now, what are the institutions from where one can learn Vedic wisdom in an authoritative way? So you all know all this. So there are 4 sampradayas, right? Sri Sampradaya, headed by Lakshmi Devi, who is a personal servant of the Lord. So in that, the current or in the most recent Acharya is Ramanujacharya. And next is Brahma, who is born and received knowledge directly from the Lord himself. And the recent Acharya is Madhvacharya, who directly had direct audience of Vyasdeva. And Vyasdeva is a student of Narada. Narada is a direct student of Lord Brahma. So you can see direct connection there. And then Rudra Sampradaya, who is a great Vaishnava. His name is Vishnu Swami, is the recent Acharya. There is also Kumar Sampradaya, the 4 Chatushkumaras, and the Acharya is named Nimbarka Acharya. The Vedic knowledge was revealed by the Supreme Person within the heart of the first created being, Tene Brahma Hridaya Adikavaye. Yeah. So in this way, Vedic wisdom is coming in a chain of gurus from the beginning of creation.
We haven't got to manufacture something.
Prabhupada speaking.
We simply repeat the words and the instruction given by the predecessor. Krishna instructed Brahma, Brahma instructed Narad, Narad instructed Vyasdev, Vyasdev instructed Madhyacharya. And in this way, then Madhavendra Puri, Ishwar Puri, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then the 6 Goswamis, then the Srinivasa Acharya, Kaviraj Goswami, Narottam Das Thakur, Vishwanath Chakravarti, Jagannath Das Babaji, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. And then we are doing the same thing. There is no difference. That is the specific procedure of the Krishna consciousness movement.
Yeah. So our Krishna conscious movement is coming from Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. See the second one, Madhvacharya. This is the line of teachers. See the chart. This is the Vedic knowledge, spectrum of Vedic knowledge, primarily divided into Shruti and Smriti. What is Shruti? The revealed knowledge. Smriti means what was remembered, right? Revealed knowledge is Vedas, directly revealed in the heart of the, like, for Brahma, it is directly revealed by Lord directly in his heart, right? So that is Shruti. It's unchanged. It's ever existing, the same thing. Smriti is remembered. Sages, they speak to their disciples. So that's called Smriti Praman. So all the Puranas come in Smriti. Shruti is directly given by Lord himself. So Vedas, there are 4 Vedas. What are the 4 Vedas? Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda, Atharva Veda. Yeah. And there are, each of these Vedas has 4 sections. One is Samhitas, Brahmanas, Aranyakas, and Upanishads. Upanishads are the conclusions. Samhitas are the prayers. So like that. And Vedangas and Upavedas are also there. Sub-Vedic religions, sub-Vedic texts. And then within Shruti, there are again Itihasas, Puranas, 18 Puranas. And within Puranas, there are Puranas, Sattva Puranas. 6 Puranas are Sattva, 6 are Rajas, and 6 are Tamas, right? And there are, so Vedanta Sutras is also there. And then there are Shad Darshanas. This is Shad Darshanas. It's all in the Smritis. So Vedic wisdom is vast. You said, we have to learn Vedic wisdom, but it's so vast. What is the hope for me? What is the hope? So the entire summary of Vedic wisdom is in Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. The summary of Vedic wisdom is in one book called Bhagavad Gita. So if you learn directly Bhagavad Gita, it's as good as learning the summary of entire Vedic wisdom. And to understand in more depth, Bhagavatam, study of Bhagavatam. These two, if you study, you have everything you need. Yeah.
On the right side, I can't read. It says where do you may change to age?
Huh?
Just on the right side, the right branch, where do you may change from age to age?
Yeah.
Does this mean like interpretation or application changes, or just the words? Like,
oh yeah, the history records change. For example, if you study current Bhagavatam, we hear the history of Dhruva Maharaj, these past times, right? In the next Kali Yuga, it is possible whatever is happening today in Sankirtan movement, like what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's incarnation will be there. In Bhagavatam of next Kali Yuga. Yeah. Every time it will be written, yeah. So the details vary. You have a question or you're smiling for some reason? Yeah. You don't want to come, right? You know how many years after is Kali Yuga, next Kali Yuga? At least 4 million years. No, Kali Yuga, no, already we're on Kali Yuga, right? So, no, 4,32,000 years, yeah. Next Chatur Yuga begins, 4,32,000, of which how many years are spent? Right now, current Kali Yuga, how many years did we spend? 5,000. Yeah. So, first 10,000 years of the Yuga is called Sandhya. Means you're changing from the previous yuga to the next yuga. Sandhya of any yuga is very golden age. So that's why this time and Sandhya period is the best period for making spiritual progress. So if you don't make your life perfect within the next 5,000 years, it's very difficult. Kali Yuga will be at full force after 5,000 years. Right? So even if you come back, it's very difficult to achieve perfection. So all the benefits of being born in Kali Yuga is available primarily for the Sandhya period. And already 5,000 years is gone. So we have hardly 5 more thousand. Yeah. Maybe it will be extended for 5,000 more years. But Sandhya, I'm talking about Sandhya period. Sandhya is like, 10,000 years. Yeah, actually it is 10,000 more years from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's birth.
The last two, right?
Not exactly the same Mahaprabhu. In the last one, he is in the last Kali Yuga, he established Sankirtana, but not exactly, he is not like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a direct incarnation of Krishna. So that incarnation comes there is a once in a day of Brahma or something like that. So in 28 Kali Yugas, he comes once. In other Kali Yugas, the incarnation teaches the same Yuga Dharma, but there is a name also for it. He's different. He's not exactly like, in this cycle, there is also incarnation of Krishna. So in most other cycles, in Dwapara Yuga, comes, what is it? There is a name for it. Vasudeva Krishna. Vasudeva form of Krishna. He does not exhibit all the things that were exhibited in this Kali Yuga. So this Kali Yuga, luckily we are very special. Don't question, why only this Kali Yuga? It's like that. Yeah. There is special incarnations in this Kali Yuga. Mahaprabhu and, Lord Krishna. So other times there is Vasudeva Krishna who won't exhibit all the things that were exhibited by this Krishna. He comes in Dwapara Yuga. He came as the same Krishna comes as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Kali Yuga. He came in Kali Yuga. Yeah. To end comes Kalki Avatar, to just end the Kali Yuga about 4,30,000 years later. The Kali incarnation that exists today is not Kali. It's just namesake. Somebody says, I am Kali incarnation. No, don't believe that. So as per scriptures, he comes at the end of Kali Yuga, which is about 4,32,000, span. Yeah. So whatever we study in Bhagavad Gita classes from next week, we'll start verses from Bhagavad Gita from next week. We study based on Srila Prabhupada, who comes in this Vedic parampara, right? Yeah, he's a pure devotee of Lord Krishna, coming in Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. Yeah. So all the research is already done. Vedic wisdom, there is no question of research. Can we improve these slokas? No, they are final. There is no scope for improvement there, right? Yeah. There are slokas on which there are PhDs done by people. There is a book called Nectar of Devotion. Okay. In I know of one devotee who used one sloka from that book, and he got a PhD from it. So you understand the power of one sloka. So that's how deep each of these are. Yeah, all the research is done. We just need to use it. We are not meant for research. At least Kali Yuga people are not for that. It should be accepted as it is without any interpretation. Like I was telling in the first class, there are so many editions of Gita, but they all miss the point, right? They all have their own interpretation. Mahatma Gandhi tried to prove ahimsa paramo dharma from Bhagavad Gita. And Bhagavad Gita, whole point is Krishna is inspiring Arjuna to fight. How can you prove the opposite, right? And there are people who try to prove many things, I don't want to mention them, but everybody has their own agenda, and they know that this is a universal book. They try to use this as a vehicle to share their agenda to the world. Yeah. They are spoken by the Lord Apaurishaya, all perfect. Should be accepted as it is. Yeah. So, result of understanding Bhagavad Gita. So, when you study Bhagavad Gita, we should come to the same conclusion as what Arjuna came to, correct? If I am studying Gita and the same wisdom was given to Arjuna during actual Gita Pravachan, whatever conclusion he came to, that's exactly what everybody should come to. But unfortunately, the Gita wisdom studied by most people, nobody comes to the conclusion that Arjuna comes to. Outside, our organization, most of the people, they take it for, like Gita for, becoming better at work or so many other ways, but they don't really get to the same conclusion as what Arjuna comes to. Like Arjuna, if we properly utilize the instruction of Bhagavad Gita, then our whole life becomes purified and ultimately we'll be able to reach the destination. Yeah. Yad gatvani vartante tadhama parama mama. Yeah. We'll skip some of this. Yeah. So we already studied this. The Jiva has eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord, and our purpose of life is to go back to Krishna. Yeah. And we can achieve that through joyful performance of Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga, everything is joyful, right? You hear nice lectures, you have nice kirtans, you have nice satsangs where devotees come together, have nice dance, kirtan, everything is joyful. So you see devotees going in a boat ride in Mayapur. Have you been to Mayapur, anybody? Yeah. Yeah. So there are many dvipas there. Yeah. So devotees happily serve others. So this is food for life, I think. They celebrate, culture, Vedic culture. They learn Vedic instruments. It's very joyful. And the result of performance of devotion service is ultimately we go back to Krishna, right? You see here, this is Gopakumar ultimately reaching Krishna, Krishna is just waiting for all of us, each of us. He is waiting for Ravi. He is waiting for Sanal. He is waiting for Shashwat. He is waiting for every one of us. We just need to use our whole life to go back to Krishna, right? So when we go ultimately to the spiritual world, Krishna would cry and come to each of us to hug us. Oh my child, what are you doing all this life? How many lives you have left me? Finally, you have come to me. Yeah, it's our home, We should all aspire to go back to our home in spiritual world, right? And play with the cows. You see, you don't need to work for anybody there. You don't. You're not going to be riffed. That's it. Go there and no coming back. Yeah. So this is what is awaiting each one of us. This is the real joy of life, Perform, just spend this one life and achieve perfection, right? Don't waste this human life. Because in no other form you can achieve this. Yeah. back to God, why not back to Godhead? Because people in India especially have, this understanding about God where there are multiple gods, right? So to actually have no confusion, Prabhupada coined this Godhead word so that they're very clear. Krishna is the head of all the gods. And when you say back to Godhead, you're going to the Supreme God. Yeah. Simply by thinking of Krishna at the time of death. Right? Whatever state of mind we remember at the time of death, that will be our next life. If you remember about your work, you will end up getting to work again in the next life. So don't make that your consciousness. Okay? Our goal is to remember Krishna all the time. Yes.
Go back to God and go back there. That Goloka Vrindavan. Loka.
Yeah, Goloka Vrindavan.
How did we come back here?
How did we even land here?
Yeah, because if we are going through this life to purify ourselves and understand what's our purpose and how to serve Krishna, so then we go back and Krishna guarantees that he'll take care of us, we'll be there. How did we end up in this situation for the first time?
Why did we even land up here, right?
It's like, like I go there, again I do the same nonsense, I come back, it defeats the purpose.
Yeah, once you go there, nobody comes back. That's given in the Bhagavad Gita says. How did you even land here? Yeah. So it's like we're all from the spiritual world. I mean, this is the topic that keeps on coming again and again. We're all from the spiritual world. But as soon as, so in the spiritual world, what happens? Krishna is the center. And we are all naturally, happily serving Krishna. Just like, because that's the natural state. Suppose there is a gulab jamun, right? And hand got the gulab jamun. Can hand enjoy itself? It tries to press, it can't really enjoy. But hand gets the nourishment as soon as it supplies the gulab jamun to the tummy. When you supply to the mouth, naturally, that's exactly how we are related to the God. A simple example. Everything else serves the tummy, for example, in our body. You do everything so that you serve the stomach, right? So similarly, we're all part and parcel of God, but meant for the service of God. But we are all marginal potential. We all have individual free will, little bit of free will. So we have a choice to serve. Without choice, there is no reciprocation and love between two people, correct? For the sake of love to exist, we exist as individual living entities, right? Now, when these living entities were rendering service happily in the spiritual world, they were happily serving there, happy there. But we all have individuality. But when that individual free will makes a choice thinking that, why only God? Why not me? Can I get the same center of attention as God? It's possible, right? You can think like that also, right? As soon as you think out of love, Krishna says, okay, my child, you want to enjoy like me? Go to the middle world. That's the place you can enjoy. You cannot enjoy because this is contradictory. So this is not the place where that is allowed. It's like a child wanting to become president. He sees his father. My father is a president. Junior Trump, for example, he says, I want to be like my father. Trump says, no, you cannot. There is a process by which I am here. If you want to be president, I'll create a small, court for you where I'll put my servants there. You can act like president, sit in, So this whole material existence is a play area for all of us to play like we are the boss. Everybody comes here and thinks, I am the boss. Everybody thinks I'm the boss. That's exactly how we are. Now we landed here. Doesn't mean he left us. He sent us, the acharyas, he sent us all the Vedic wisdom. He wants us back, but by our choice.
A choice when you go back can still fluctuate, come back.
No, it won't, because once you learn, you burnt, right?
I highly doubt that.
But Krishna issues that once you come, there is no return after coming back.
Right.
Yeah. So, but one time there is a chance for fall. Yeah. Because the jiva is tiny. Right? There is chance for falling. There is a chance for it to be covered by illusion, maya. Does it make sense? Yeah? Yeah.
Like there's no beginning or
There is a
is there a beginning for a commission? Because I remember somewhere in Gita reading that eternally commissioned.
oh
That we are eternally.
no, it is termed as eternally conditioned. What is the term? Nitya Baddha. Yeah. So the reason is because we don't know how long back we came here, how long we are loitering in the material world. Even though it has a beginning, it's almost like infinite, because it could be millions and millions of life since when we are in the material world. Yeah. So that's why it is called like that. No. Yeah, eternally until now. Yeah, but it's not that you're like here forever. Yeah, Nitya Baddha and Nitya Mukta. Yeah, Nitya Siddhas. They are all in the spiritual world. Yeah, but we have a chance, in the human form especially, to go back to spiritual world. Yeah, make sense? Yeah. Nitya, yeah. We can become Nitya Siddhas. Yeah, we can go back to spiritual world. Mm-hmm. So there are gradations of people, right? Everywhere. Like devotees like Hanuman and all, they are like fixed up. In fact, they're like, Lord's favorites. Whenever Lord comes, he brings those souls with him, to perform pastimes. They also come to middle world, but they come for a different purpose. But there is no guarantee. Nitya Siddha is a term because they have been always there. That's the reason it's termed as Nitya Siddha. They have been there. But as soon as he comes here, he's called Nitya Baddha. Yeah. It's the term to represent the current state of them. That's all. But some of them will be here. Yeah. Pure devotees never fall down. But again, this fall down is not like a big negativity. It's mentioned this whole material existence for the jiva is like a bad dream from the spiritual realm itself. It's like you are in the spiritual world, but it's like a long bad dream in which you are in the material world. This material world it's not like it has a separate existence. It's within the realm of God's overall, creation, right? Yeah. So from God's perspective, yeah, my child went there and he spent some time and he's coming back. That's all. It's like a fraction of time for him. But for us, it could be like millions and millions of lifetimes. So time is very relative, right? Yeah. For him, it's just like, some bad dream, it's like a short period for the jiva in the spiritual world. Yeah. Anything else? But anyway, there is no point in, if suppose you're in the burning heat of the sun outside the room, right? Do you care? Hey, why am I here? Who put me here? Why is it burning here? Instead of that, you should quickly run and go to the room, right? So we can always think why we are here. It's good to know, but don't worry too much about why am I here in the middle world. Your feet is burning. Run away fast, right? Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
The Mangalarti, Vedanyas custom. There's a verse which says that there are no hardened past schools